Good. Test, test, test.
PDN.
Ready.
Welcome all members of the media here this morning. I guess just to inform the public, especially in regards to the issues on the North Korean incident that has been ongoing over the past week. I had an opportunity to speak over the telephone this morning, with Rear Admiral Timon Payne. And again, he is Joint Region Marianas Commander. Upon cessation of those discussions, I was given assurances, again, of the security blanket that Guam is protected and other American territories are protected. And with those assurances, there was a follow-up briefing by representatives of Joint Region Marianas and Homeland Security on more detail in regards to the, again, the U.S. military presence on island as well as in Asia Pacific, in the Asia Pacific region, and those assurances with those defense assets in place, the protection of Guam and other American territories, as well as other American allies and installations in the Asia Pacific region.
You know, with these, with the threats are nothing new, but of course it's something you guys take seriously. Is there any assurance you can provide the public? I know that we've been hearing all these statements from the congressmen and senators. I guess that Guam is safe, but even though these threats continue to happen?
Well, obviously we can't stop the threats made by a leader of a country such as North Korea. He will continue to say what he says, and this is kind of, I would say, it's something that is not irregular coming from the leadership of North Korea, and whether it was this current leader or his father or his grandfather, has always been these same bellicose statements that have come out from North Korea. But that being said, I did receive assurances, again, based on the current, how would you say, American overlay of military facilities and assets in the Asia Pacific region, that there are multi-layered defense systems in place to protect places such as Guam. So again, I've been assured of that, and I feel confident in the ability of the United States Armed Forces as well as their allies to protect Guam. I must also add that after our briefing with Homeland Security and Joint Region Marianas officials, I have advised that our Homeland Security representatives, together with representation in Adelup, as well as the Guam National Guard, that I believe that all those necessary partnering representatives come together, and just to revisit some of the contingency plans that have been laid out that deal with issues such as North Korea. So again, I brought these representatives together, and they will be working on, again, rehashing and updating those contingency plans. And we will be making that known to the general public as they move forward.
Was the Admiral able to give any specific details as to whether or not Guam is protected by any sort of missile defense system, any sort of interceptor missiles that would defend against a missile attack from North Korea? Because I've seen a 2010 ballistic missile defense report. I don't know if it's current, but it's from 2010 that shows a map and a range of the missile defense system, and Guam appears to lie outside of that range. So is there something else more specific that he's able to tell you?
I received a fairly detailed briefing from representatives of Joint Region Marianas in collaboration with Homeland Security in regards to both the defense assets available to the United States for protection of places such as Guam, as well as capabilities of North Korean military assets as well. That's why I feel very comfortable, without getting into detail, I feel very comfortable about the position that Guam is in. But that being said, we also have to be prepared for all contingencies, and this is why I'm again bringing together the necessary representatives from our local government in collaboration with Joint Region Marianas, just to make sure that all our ducks are in order to deal with all potentialities.
Also, with your briefing, do they believe that North Korea, because we've heard from others that don't believe that North Korea even actually has the capability of reaching Guam with any accuracy with their missiles. Did he speak to that at all?
I'm pretty sure you see what is being put out in the media, both by some of the outrageous statements made by North Korean leadership, but as you look towards the international media, some of that information you just brought forward about the limitations of North Korean armaments are very clear. So with those statements that are coming out from some of the international media resources, again, some of it, of course, is very accurate. You can feel comfortable. I think all of us can feel some comfort in knowing that some of the bluster that is being put out by the North Korean leader, some of it is bluster that does not match their capabilities. And again, this is information that has come from sources as the international media.
Are you worried about anything? Are you concerned about anything relative to these?
Obviously, whenever you have a madman making statements, and I hate to say madman, but he is obviously, he has made some very strong statements, especially that, he commands a dictatorial authority over a nation such as North Korea. It does bring some concerns. But with those concerns also, you have to tamper those concerns down with the history of North Korea. It's both the statements that its leadership has made in the past, as well as the limitations they also have in their, in their military forces. And so with that in mind, obviously there's concern, but with that concern also is the comfort of knowing that we are under the defense umbrella of the most powerful nation in the world. It is allied with very powerful nations such as Japan and South Korea that each have their defensive armament systems that could deal with some of the if there is a potential for military hostilities. They will have those capabilities to either deter or to defend areas such as Guam. So obviously there's some concern, but with that concern there is also looking at the reality and the facts and the history of North Korea and its limitations as well.
Guys, we have to wrap this up. We'll just take one last question, if there are any. Yeah.
Governor, you mentioned calling together Guam Homeland Security and the other agencies. I'm just wondering, do I understand that you're not directing them to take any specific measures, but to review what's in place?
Obviously, we already have contingency plans. There was made mention in earlier briefings on contingency plans, such as we've had top-off exercises several years ago. But that being said, it's important, especially in times such as this, to review all the plans that we have, and also for everyone to be very clear on their responsibilities, again, in the most unlikely event that hostilities were to occur.
Thank you, everyone.